Welcome back to Finding Monster Right, the show about finding monsters. Right?
Right.
Right.
That was... It's too many rights.
We are traveling deep, deep, deep into the wilderness for this special episode.
That we are. Do we want to tell the people who we are?
My name is Adam.
And I don't say my name every episode. It's like a running joke.
Yes.
I figured like this was the episode to explicate that.
Good point. So this episode is all about names and the power that they wield. And why you shouldn't shout a name that you're trying to keep secret as you dance around a fire.
Made that mistake too many times.
Right. This is the tale of Rumpelstiltskin. And where is he now?
Now, I have a question about that.
Yes.
Because the version I grew up with as a young child, the story of Rumpelstiltskin goes a little something like this. So, a princess goes up to Rumpelstiltskin, and she's like, "Your name is Rumpelstiltskin." And then he's like, "Oh, god damn it, fuck." And then he grabs his own foot and tears himself in half. And the princess is just like, "Oh my god. Wow. I didn't... Oh, okay.
Yeah, that...
I'm not done.
Okay.
Huh. Wow. Did you see that? I saw that, yes, miss. It was very disturbing. Huh. Well, anyway, whatever.
That's a full minute more of denouement than the story normally has.
And it just ends with and then he ripped himself in half and everything.
So yeah,
the end.
Because Rumpelstiltskin's a story that's at least 200 years old. Some accounts say thousands of years old.
Wow. That's not that good a story.
To be passed along a lot. It's a real. And this is something I discovered looking this up, like getting into kind of the weeds of this this story as it appears on Wikipedia. But boy, oh boy, people study folklore. There's folklorists out there that really, really get into the nitty gritty of how many iterations of stories there are and like recurring themes, kind of like Joseph Campbell and the Here with Thousand Faces, except like with the kids' fables.
Well, I think we're kind of folklorists.
In a way, you're correct.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
This guy's name is Auntie Arnie, I want to say, and his folklorist work dates back to like the early 1900s, and basically he made like a Dewey Decimal System for the types of like tales that there are and how often they like intersect.
Where's the non-fiction section in his Dewey Decimal System? And then Stella made some bread.
Yeah, no, right. I think he puts those in the zeros.
And the moral is don't go outside or something. I don't know.
So basically every iteration of the story Rumpelstiltskin or some other one is called, as a type 500 story, the name of the helper. And there's other, like, I noted a couple other occurrences, like when you're talking about folklores that's thousands of years old, the story of the Smith and the Devil comes to mind. Do you know that one?
No, but I think I can tell it.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, The Smith and the Devil by Rutherford B. Brimley. So, the Smith once said, no, wait, he can't just say, he said, "I'm going to make something out of metal today." And then he did, and that's how the story really starts.
Yes, right.
Just a self-affirming mantra, just like, time to make the horseshoes, So then the smith, he started making something out of metal. Clang, clang, clang. And he made horseshoes. Clang, clang, clang. And he made spoons. Clang, clang, clang. And he made forks.
I think you're missing an important ingredient right here.
And then he threw one of the forks into the fire because it wasn't made right. And the devil came up out of the flames holding the fork like a pitchfork. And he said, "Hey, that was my favorite fork, you smith." And then the smith said, "Oh, aye, and hot goals too." And then the devil burned his feet, and that's why the devil has burned feet. And the moral of the story is, wear oven mitts.
Close. You got the first half of the story right.
Wow.
Which is so yeah. The story as it goes, it's either a blacksmith and the devil, sometimes death or a genie of some kind, wants his soul. So he goes in exchange for whatever the smith wants.
The concept of a genie wanting someone's soul is very strange to me. Hey there, sport. Listen, I know you're not thinking about haunting anyone anytime soon. Just a little joke. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a weird request. I have 3 wishes, and I have 3 wishes for you. They're all your soul. So yeah, basically, the devil will give him what he wants in exchange for his soul, and the smith's like, I'm crafty, as you can see. So I want the power to weld any material. Then he uses that power to stick a devil to an immovable object, and allowing the smith to renege on the bargain.
Wow.
Yeah, and as you can tell by the other figure in the story, this has been told thousands of different ways throughout, like pretty much European and earlier than that. Sometimes the history of the humanity as it stands.
That's basically the sovereign glue from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a weird request, though. I want to weld anything.
Right.
Like, what do you... Like, oh man, what if, like, that goes Midas on you, and you just, like... Because you've already turned it on the wish granter, but, like, it hasn't gotten ironic yet. So this story just ends with a small German Hamlet or something, just everything glued to each other in a big ball.
Right. He doesn't... That's the great follow-up to the episode, to the story. And that's we're in the second act of the joke. Then he frees the devil and gets his soul back. And then, oh no, the next day, his wife is on stuck to a tree. And the devil's like, "So do you want the power to undo it?"
Universal solvent.
Yeah. But back to Rumpelstiltskin. I'm going to recap the story with minimal details first to get us started here.
All right.
Then we can kind of get into the nitty-gritty of the cast and their decisions.
Mm.
So, a miller's daughter is imprisoned and instructed to turn straw into gold.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah. A little man shows up and can do it for her, but in exchange for something of value on her. First, she gives him a necklace, and he does it. And then the miller's imprisoned in a larger room with more straw. Then he does it in exchange for her ring. It turns the straw into gold, and the miller's daughter is again imprisoned a third time in the largest chamber. She has nothing left to give the little man, but he requests her firstborn. She agrees. He does it. She becomes the queen. The king is the one imprisoning her. We'll get into it. Then she has a firstborn. The little man shows up. He's like, "Hey, the deal's the deal. Give me the firstborn." She starts crying, and he's like, "Okay, fine. You can, if you guess my name in 3 days, you get it." So first day, she tries all the common names, doesn't get it. Second day, she tries more uncommon names, doesn't get it. And someone travels in the woods nearby and hears a little man celebrating around a fire near a cottage and shouting something that rhymes that usually includes the phrase, she doesn't know my name. It's Rumpelstiltskin. It's a hard to get name. And then on the third day, she guesses some other names and then finally ends with Rumpelstiltskin, to which thwarts the little man. And that's the gist of the story in a minute flat. Let's talk about each kind of scene of this, because it gets pretty wacky.
It certainly does. So it starts off with a miller's daughter who can ascend to a higher social caste, which is already pretty crazy.
Yeah, so the way it works is that there's a miller, and for some reason he boasts to the king, he boasts within earshot of the king, that his daughter is so great, she's so awesome that she can turn straw into gold.
And the king's like, bullshit.
No, it's more like he's like, oh, awesome. So I'm gonna take her. I'm gonna put her in this dark room with a bunch of straw, and if she doesn't do it, I'll kill her.
I wonder if he's done this before.
If this is like a regular thing for him.
If this is a recurring problem that he does not understand hyperbole at all.
That's the end of the miller in the story. He's just a bad dad.
Crazy old Maurice.
So there's some better stories out there. Some better versions of it, I'd say. Like one of them I saw mentioned that the miller was speaking metaphorically. He was like, oh yeah, she can, turn a stone into diamond because she's so awesome.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Another one was that she has long blonde hair, and in the sunlight, it normally looks like straw, but in the sunlight, it looks like gold. So she can turn straw into gold.
That's really complicated.
It is, and it's but yeah, if this was a D&D story, a D&D game, I would be concerned with the players not having enough agency in this. Because
that's every D&D game that I run, and also every fairy tale story, really.
Yeah, because she's just locked up in this room, and she has literally nothing. This is an impossible task. So,
like, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Prove it.
Yeah, it's.
And then you lock him, and then you lock the guy in with the horse, and then that's how centaurs were made.
She's locked in the room, and the door opens to this little man, and that's how he's described. Some people call him like impish. A couple sources. So I read about 5 different versions of the story to kind of get a straight line between them. But yeah, sometimes he's called a mannequin.
Oh,
in like an archaic sense.
Okay, I guess that's a word for like
a goblin.
The goblin, elf, dwarf, hybrid kind of small creature that spoils your milk and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So he shows up and he's just like, hey, this is an impossible thing for you to do. I can do it. Just give me your necklace.
I feel like you could do a better impression of this little man.
So, I can do it. Just give me your necklace.
A+, 5 stars. Somebody call Cartoon Network.
Someone call Mario Kart. I think it's my Toad voice.
Oh god, that is what he sounds like, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So in exchange for a small trinket off a miller's daughter, a necklace that can't be worth much, he makes gold, right? Like he does what alchemists dream of doing.
Yeah. I'm getting some pretty heavy Fae vibes.
Oh, absolutely. The kind of naming convention and importance of names that's baked into Fae and fairy creatures.
Absolutely.
He picture this. It's a room full of hay, like stacked up on top of each other, and you have to put that. Even if it was just putting it through a spinning wheel normally, that's hard.
Well, okay. Maybe we should roleplay this scene and then move on.
Okay. There's only one character that's doing anything. There's also the miller's daughter.
I want to be the miller's daughter.
Okay.
My dad drinks Miller, so that's close enough, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Oh my god. Why does this happen to me all the time?
Hello!
Oh my god, what?
I can do it! I can make gold! I want something, though. What do you got?
Okay, hold on. You just put a lot out there. A lot just happened in the span of about 5 seconds that I've got to reconcile now.
I can go! I don't have to be here.
No, I want to hear... Okay, I want to hear more about this.
You're
Listen,
desperate. And I'm a cool guy.
Okay, what do you want from... Do you work here?
Alright, bye!
No, wait, I want to hear more about this gold thing.
What do you got? What do you got?
I have a necklace, but...
Deal!
Okay, whoa.
Piece of straw. Gold comes out. Piece of straw. Gold comes out. Only 8 million more.
I didn't... Okay, this is a slower process than I expected, but hey, it's a hell of a lot better than I can do. I mean, I'm not an expert on this. If I were, I wouldn't need your great assistance here. What are you exactly? Like, where would I find you in the player's handbook or the monster manual?
Clearly, I'm a gold weaver.
Oh, okay. Are you single? Because my only marriage prospects are some guy that put me in a castle because he doesn't understand metaphors. And frankly, if I'm on the market still.
Can he pass me more straw?
Hey, here you go. Just a little joke. Get me out of here. Help me. Scene.
Yeah, right. And the king's reaction to this impossible task that he gave this woman is he's like, "Oh, cool. Do it again."
He doesn't understand inflation either, it seems.
No, he's got a whole... That's a lot of gold.
At this point, he's going to start attracting dragons.
Sure. So yeah, he gives her an even bigger room that he locks her in, which is not... the second day is weird that he's still I don't... he believes her, clearly. She did it. Why does he need to, why does he need to, imprison her more? It's like he knows that he's a bad person. And that she would run away if given the option.
Maybe he wants more gold because he just wants to, Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah, I get it. He's definitely... Every story says that his heart grew with greed. And so, he's a bad person. We have that clear.
At this point, he must have more gold. After the first room alone, he must have more gold than the entire rest of his kingdom.
Right, but that's not enough, so he wants even more than that, so... And this is like the inverse of the... Speaking of fables, real... What do you call it? Fish and the Farmer?
I am great King Bezos. I'm the king of shiny things. Well, what's the Fish and the Farmer? Is that that's the thing with the guy who catches a fish, and then the fish says, "If you let me go, I'll grow into a big fish and you can eat me then." And he's like, "What? No."
No, it's the one where he's the fish will let me go, I'll grant your wishes. And then he goes, "Okay, cool, I want a better house." And then he's like, "Oh, cool, better house. Isn't this awesome, wife?" And the wife keeps telling him to get better shit.
That's rude.
And until the fish returns them back to status quo. So yeah, no, he's the greedy wife in this story. But yeah, no, same situation plays out the second night. Here's a trivia for you. What's the first magic that Rumpelstiltskin performs in the story?
He spins straw into gold, or perhaps he just shows up in a locked room. Yeah. I think that would be it.
Yes, that's it. He literally, in all these stories, it says that he opens this locked door.
Oh, well, what the hell?
Yeah, he could just open it and let her out. Right?
What the fuck? I'm in here spinning straw into gold.
Right.
I thought he just showed up. I didn't notice the door was open. Fuck.
So-
This is after he leaves. And she's just like, God, I liked that necklace. That's the last time I'll do that, and definitely not 2 more times.
So, for this story, I obtained the original translation of Grimm's fairy tales.
You had to break into the National Archives and put some lemon juice on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
Yes, to uncover the 1815.
With 2005 Diane Kruger and other guy I did not pay attention to.
Yeah, the story of Rumpelstiltskin is about like it's a page long. Like
My friend Lindsay actually had a really bad crush on that guy, I remember, for some reason. Move on.
Rumpelstiltskin or like
No, the guy from National Treasure who's not...
Oh, okay. I was kind of hoping that it was the Brothers Grimm. I was like...
No, but come to think of it, don't we all know somebody that kind of would jump at the chance to date one of those people? One of those 2 brothers?
Yes.
Aren't I one of those people?
I was gonna say, you're the person I know.
Okay, yes.
Are you
Absolutely.
Are you more of a Jacob or a Wilhelm stan?
Oh, I mean, I gotta go with Wilhelm Stan just because it's more fun to say. But like, so, do you have any hobbies? I tell the grim corners of the universe to children. Cool. I like hiking.
Yeah, okay, so second night, same as the first, except she has a ring, too. Which is, it's great that she showed up with all her jewelry. Otherwise she'd be in real trouble. I was also saying that, the thing about the unlocked door is that, it could be, he knows where the miller lives. He got her daughter there. She's got nowhere else to go, and it's kind of like, yeah, I could see her being still in a bind, even, that she's given this task. So yeah, Rumpelstiltskin pulls off on the second day. The third day, things get weird. The king says, on the third night, the king had her locked again in another room that was larger than the first 2. And he says, if you succeed, you shall become my wife.
That's a horrible relationship.
Absolutely. I will put you in the biggest prison that I know, marriage.
Hey man, marriage is a prison, man.
Yeah, no, zero agency here on the miller's daughter's part. I don't know why she would ever want to be married to the guy that, like, threatens to kill her every night.
You know what? He's the king. So if she's the queen, then she can put him in prison for dumb reasons.
That could be it. Or maybe she just wants to... Maybe she, like, the idea of a loophole in this system. So really, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. Scheherazade... 1001 Arabian Nights.
Oh, Scheherazade?
Yeah, it's a real Scheherazade situation where she can... If she can, like,
Scheherazade had 1,000 tales.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, this is the loophole for her to get out of this system where she can be accused of death.
Man, telling 1,001 stories is so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it ends in a similar way. By the end of the 1001 stories, Scheherazade, like, has 3 kids. And she's like, alright, you can kill me now, but we got 3 kids together.
I really like the idea of just, like, telling all the stories back to back.
Yeah.
And so by the end of them, it's just like...
It's 3 years later.
It's like, well, that was a lovely story, but I have to... Oh my god, it's been 3 years.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
And then Scheherazade disappears in a wisp. Was she ever really there?
So, yeah, no, she has nothing to give Rumpelstiltskin on the third day. And so his deal is that, very specifically, he says, if you, in some later stories, in the original, it's not as precise, but he says,
if you become queen, then I get your firstborn kid.
I don't know why that... Okay, I can't roleplay this. That's...
Right.
That's too weird of a bargain to say yes to.
And her reaction is similar to, like, oh, that might never happen. Like,
Note to self: find out how to tie tubes in old-timey times.
Well, it's more of a, like, hey, I'm probably gonna die in childbirth. If I get to that point, if I'm not infertile to begin with. So, but anyway, she agrees in some stories. I Wikipedia lists one where she, very in particular, Rumpelstiltskin just goes about making the gold, and like and then she's like, I have nothing to pay you anymore. And he's like, no, I got a price for you. Which is pretty. That's definitely more nefarious Rumpel.
That's pretty fucked up Rumpel.
Mm-hmm. So yes, the kind of the third. So there's several different versions of the end of the story here, where she has a child and like totally forgets about Rumpelstiltskin. He rolls up one day and says, like, hey, yeah, in 3 days I'll come fetch my child.
Now, here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
Oh, that's not mentioned in any of these stories.
Is he gonna eat the child? Is he gonna raise the child as his own?
Yep.
Is he going to...
in a couple of the versions I read, instead the queen offers him, like, all the treasure in the kingdom, like any type of price. But of course he can, it's not explicitly said, but he can make straw into gold. What does he care about worldly treasure?
That's fair. Well, what did he need the necklace and the ring for then?
Exactly. So this is like clearly some kind of long con to get like, and in true like archfey like kind of fairy politics fashions, I could see him wanting like the heir apparent to the throne.
Well, first off, the archfey is like, for the uninitiated, the archfey is like the fae who's in charge of all the others. This guy doesn't seem very high-ranking.
No, he doesn't. He's definitely lower. But yes, to almost like a Sleeping Beauty situation, where he's like, but a more nefarious spin to it, where he's like, oh, I want to raise the kid on my own so that I can perhaps one day use him to take over the kingdom.
A nefarious spin.
Yep.
A baleful spin. A maleficent spin, you might say.
Right. So he and there's some other version I'll get into in a sec here, but yeah. So sometimes in some of the versions he'll only give the queen 3 guesses each day, which is crazy.
I don't think I could do that.
Not for like a regular name too.
No. I did have a game when I worked at the zoo where I would go up to my coworkers who were white girls and be like, I can guess your middle name in 5 guesses. And I always did.
Right.
Marie, Elizabeth. Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, pretty low-hanging fruits. So, yeah, in other stories, and this the one I remember growing up was that she... was able to make a big list every day, and she would like send like servants out like around the kingdom to like, all right, get the name of everyone you can meet. And so she would show up and she's like, oh, is it Balthazar? Is it Melchior?
Is it Casper?
Yeah, no, literally some of the translations all like do that for some reason. They do like 3 kings first.
They do the 3 wise men, and then that's
It's weird that it's like that what do you call it? The Beowulf, like, Christianization stuff. But anyway, yeah, so...
I wonder if Rumpelstiltskin attends daily mass or not.
I can't imagine it. He'd be...
Oh, maybe he's a priest.
But yes, sometimes it was the king that goes out in this voice, sometimes it's the queen, but oftentimes it's a messenger who's like, I went to like the... And... of the Grimm's fairy tales, what's the moral that's frequently the moral of the story?
Never go in the woods.
Right. Controversially, a messenger, because he traveled deep into the woods, he like was up on a hilltop and he saw this little tiny like hut, and he witnessed Rumpelstiltskin out gloating for no good reason. That tomorrow he'll bake He'll have the queen's namesake. Oh, how hard it is to play my game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 15% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. It's Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
That's the song I imagine him singing.
Every version I had a different song. And they made the effort to make a different, like, rhyme happen.
Say my name, say it's Rumpelstiltskin, cause that is my name.
Yeah.
I can keep going. I have 17,000 more.
Glad am I that no one knew that Rumpelstiltskin I am styled.
That's...
It makes sense with the other first two lines. It's an A-B-A-B rhyme.
Oh, okay.
Today I bake, tomorrow brew. Next I'll have the young queen's child. Ha! Glad am I that no one knew that Rumpelstiltskin I am styled.
I thought that was going to involve Stu somewhere and answer my question as to what he wants with this kid.
He talks about brewing, feasting, and baking in most of the songs, so I think it's probably heavily implied that he's gonna munch on this kid.
Why does it have to be implied? Like, the Hansel and Gretel witch is just like...
Right, yeah. And so this is a part I want to get into in every version of the story. Once the queen has learned his name, in every version, she guesses still different stuff on the third day. She says, in a lot of them it's these two names. Is your name Conrad? No. Is your name Harry or Henry? No. And she said, what about Rumpelstiltskin? And he's always, like, so pissed off. He either accuses the devil, a demon, some witch, of, like, the devil told you that.
And Devil's just like, nah, man, I'm all the way over here glued to something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, dude, I'm stuck in this tree.
Yeah, that's another one.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the end of Rumpelstiltskin. In the original 1812 version of the story, it's literally one sentence.
The 1812 version that the Grimm brothers wrote.
That they wrote, yes.
Yeah.
He says, "The devil told you that!" The little man screams, and he ran off, full of anger, and never returned. Which is weird, because he lives down the street.
Oh, wait, he's like a guy?
Yeah, like they know where his cottage is. It's like in the woods.
Why don't they burn it down? He's a weird man.
Yeah, that's so maybe that's why he like up and left and never returned.
What if they did burn him down and then he just turned into Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's some kind of situation like that. There's other versions. The one that you mentioned is very abruptly. A lot of these stories just end with that. He's so mad that he slams his foot into the ground and it gets stuck. And he's so mad that he'll grab his other leg and just rip himself in half.
Wow.
That's mad.
Like, this is the Quentin Tarantino of, like, this is the nonlinear storytelling of the episode, like, and then the princess is like, wow. Oh,
well,
okay.
Speaking of nonlinear storytelling,
I'm not done.
I want to flash back a bit, because even in those, sometimes he'll do that, sometimes he'll just get his foot stuck, and he'll, like, pull it out and everyone's laughing at him. Sometimes he'll hit the ground so hard he makes a chasm and falls in. And I love my favorite's the original. Like, this is what Brothers Grimm adapted. They heard this one and they said, that's too weird. We gotta just make him leave forever.
He turns straw into gold.
Yeah. So introducing
we cannot expose the children to too much whimsy, or else they will forget that their universe is ruled by a dark, unfeeling court of fae that seek only their bones.
Yeah, in the original story that they collected and like didn't adapt directly but changed around, the oral version, Rumpelstiltskin flies out of the window on a cooking ladle.
Cool. That's one more thing he's taken now.
Yeah, maybe it was maybe he like showed up with the ladle, like ready to start like ready to start cooking this kid.
Oh, okay.
That makes more sense, and I'm glad that we've kind of puzzled together that story. But like I said, Quentin Tarantino, flashing back here to earlier in the story, when
Cut to Rumpelstiltskin's feet.
Yeah, he's right. He's a good guy.
Okay.
Because in frequently all these stories, he shows up on the third day and he's like, I did this impossible thing for you. I turned straw into gold 3 nights in a row for pocket change the first 2 nights. Then the third night, we had an agreement. We agreed that I get your firstborn kid.
Well, I mean, it was an unreasonable deal. I mean, it was night. He was about to take a long rest and get his spell slots back.
Right. And it was a very, like I said, true, it was an unfair deal. But she agreed to it. She could have, it's like, she could, not that dying was an option, but, oftentimes she's being taught, she's called clever. Or she's called, like, the best. I feel like she kind of really, really discounts the fact that he says that for your firstborn kid. She's like, that'll never happen.
Well, when you first said, like, in some stories, she says yes, or something to that effect earlier, and I imagined a story where she didn't, where it was like, in exchange, I want your firstborn child, and it's like, what the... No. Deal! Like...
Yeah, well, like I said, one of the versions that does happen, and that's definitely I see her side of that one, where like he gets to gold churning, and he says the price is your firstborn. Yeah,
you're already doing it. I can't say no, but like then it's on.
Yeah, but even in that scenario of she can't say no, he is no worse than the king.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he's equally unfair to her. But that said, he comes to collect, and she's upset about it, and she's offering him all this stuff, and he's like, "No, we had a deal. I made a fake agreement with you.
I am altering the terms of the deal. Pray I don't alter them further."
No, except he alters them in her favor.
I've changed my mind about that part.
He doesn't ask for anything else in return. He he doesn't it's not double or nothing. He just says she as the story goes, she's crying and upset, and he has pity on her, and he's like that's like literally written in a lot of these, and it's like, okay, fine, if you can guess my name in 3 days, which is a loaded deal, sure. But he gives her an out. Like he humors her. And she, gets to the, she gets the better of him by sheer circumstance that someone that she knows was in the deep, dark woods. And he was, he had his own pride of sorts. That's his sin. That he's, gloating over his campfire in broad daylight.
You made a good point that compared to a lot of fairy tale antagonists, like, he does have a lot of empathy.
Sure, yeah, no, yeah. That's when he first shows up, is because she's crying. She's crying that she can't do this task.
I have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is that I always heard that it was the prince. Like, he was a prince, and then he has to marry someone to become the king. So it was the prince that found Rumpelstiltskin. And I like that because it kind of gives the prince this moment of, like, is that what's been going on? Okay. Yeah, wow, this whole thing has been a weird thing on my part. We can still be married, but, like, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah, a lot of the fables don't address that piece of the puzzle. But no, right, getting the king involved and letting the king know what's up.
Yeah, but part 2. I think there is a reason why Rumpelstiltskin was singing his name out loud.
What's that?
I think maybe he was betting on the off chance that, like, he knows that there's messengers going around, so he's playing the odds that someone will hear him so that the lady can have her out, but he wants to be fair about it, so he doesn't want to just, like, cheat. and make it certain and just tell somebody what his name is.
That's a very benevolent aspect. However, every story he ends upset.
Oh, yeah.
Like, tear himself in half upset. So, I've got a pretty good deal for you. I've got a...
No. No.
I mean, I've got a good theory for you.
Okay.
Okay, so...
There's no cautionary tale about that as far as I know, so spin it. Nope, don't. Fuck.
I think that Rumpelstiltskin knew the miller's daughter from afar.
I like watching you sleep. I like watching you sleep. Oh god, that's so much worse.
You've got beautiful hair!
And even more beautiful skin.
I bet your child will be very handsome. Especially if he's mine.
Be with your spirit. He's a priest, remember?
Yeah, right. But it's less that. It's more. So yeah, he sees her from. I'm thinking he's been like friend zoned in a way.
Okay.
So
well, I mean, not in my version.
No. I'm saying that like maybe like he clearly has no worldly desires besides in terms of like treasure and stuff like that. He can make gold. He doesn't care about that stuff, and he says as much like later on when he wants the firstborn kid. So it's like, maybe this poor daughter, possibly, someone for him to, woo and wed and have a good life with.
I mean, he's got magic powers.
The king gets involved, locks her up, and his move is to go to, crack open her imprisonment, unlock the door and help her out. And he doesn't ask for much in return. Like, he wants something, but, pocket change, essentially. A necklace, a small token of affection. And, he'll happily do this laborious activity all night long just to spend some time with her.
No.
He does the same thing the next day. And when he finds out that on the third day, the consequences of his, good actions, stuff like that, kind of mean that the king is gonna wed her, take her off the market, lock her up in this kind of marriage of sorts. I think he's really mad at the king. And the firstborn thing is not so much about the queen as it's about him. This kid's is good to be the prince. It's to, and part of these stories often go into the love of my child is more valuable to me than anything else. So, maybe he's trying to get back at the king that way. Because this king is totally unfeeling. He's a monster of in his own rights.
This is like a Jim Pam Toby situation.
Yeah, right. So, and the king, he knows that there's no way that he could get out this king that, basically locks his bride up every night and forces her to make gold for him.
He locks her up in a thing of Jell-O.
So maybe he sees his opportunity to make a Achilles heel for him. Maybe if he has a kid, he'll care about him more. And I also have an idea that he's gotten friendly with the miller's daughter these past couple nights, and he'll talk to her about stuff, and his advances are not mirrored by her. And I think part of that is he tells her his name throughout the couple nights, and she doesn't remember it or register it.
I wonder if he's cursed.
Could be it, or it's it's just that how little she actually feels for him.
What if there's a prequel fairy tale where it's you'll be able to spin I want to be able to spin straw into gold so that everyone will remember my name.
Oh yeah, and then, he's got a Rankin Bass Jack Frost story.
Yeah, and then the witch is oh, so be it. You'll be able to turn straw into gold, but I'll need to take something from you, something most valuable. Sure, anything. And then she takes the name.
Yeah, right. It's definitely a And this angle I'm taking is it's a format of stories I remember all the way back from like first grade and stuff like that. You'd hear about those like untold the other side of the story fairy tales, where it's like, oh, the big bad wolf has asthma. It's like it's not his fault that it's allergy season.
It's not his fault that he ate that grandma.
Right. Or it's just a misunderstanding, and that type of angle here. But yeah, no, I could see him like really upset that she, after all this time, like doesn't even like faced with a situation where like maybe on that third day she's like, oh man, I could become queen. That's great. That gets me out of this stupid feudal system. I don't have to live as a poor person anymore, right? Right, buddy? And he's like, I hate both of you now. Tell you what, it'll be for your firstborn. So yeah, as an attempt to get back at them. And so, yeah, on that, when he comes to collect, he has pity on her, and he's like, you know what? Tell me that you ever cared about me. What's my name? I've told you many times before, and she's just, that's how little she, like, remembers him and cares about him.
What if he just, like, nice guyed it, and, like, gave a really, like, he said he wants her firstborn, but like it's like a weird gross pickup line that's so weird and gross that it just does not register. Because here's the other thing is, like, you don't win a woman's affections by doing nice things and favors for her over and over.
Right.
Maybe that's the moral.
I was going to say, that's a way better moral here.
You're right. You've done such a good job that I ruined your point.
Yes. But no, to that, you follow up with that, and then it's his, it adds into why he was so frustrated in the end. And that's, that'd be a way better thing than just laughing at him.
And he cut himself in half with his katana that he bought at the mall.
Yeah, right. He splits his heart in two.
Oh, God.
In front of everybody.
Go write about it in your live journal. Like,
yeah, right. He has to put his fedora back on and, like, you'll never see me again.
Look, the antidote for all of these people is a little song by Billy Joel called Tell Her About It. Tell her everything you feel. Give her every reason to accept that you're for real. I'm Rumpelstiltskin, NPR News.
He does I think that's the kind of the real lesson here for him. So, answering the question, Rumpelstiltskin, where is he now? I feel like he's on some kind of internet forum talking about how girls don't get it.
Oh, God. Incel Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, no, it's very... which does not fit well with his name at all. No, hang on. Rumpelstiltskin cell.
Oh, no. This started out so favorable to him, and just... he's fallen on some rough psychological times.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that I imagine a pretty... a retelling of the story that's a little more understanding of him. And maybe there's a good version where instead of getting, rip yourself in half angry at the end, he comes to an understanding with the queen that forgot him.
You know what? I think we haven't done any segments this episode so far.
We haven't.
But I've got one that I want to give a shot.
Okay.
Monster Rehab.
Oh, great. Yeah, perfect. That's how we'll end this. Find a good spot for... Okay, this crossed my mind, thinking about this episode. He can make gold.
This concludes... No.
So yeah, he can crash an economy, certainly, with the inflation and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, that's not advisable.
And so I think a good thing that if he becomes a philanthropist, right, and he kind of supports key charities and stuff like that, because he can, whip up a quick donation amount.
Sure.
And so I guess what groups do you think would he best have interest in and want to benefit?
The lower class, the working classes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Helping out these millers.
Overthrow the monarchy.
Oh yeah, he'll feed the lower the folks. His ultimate revenge against the king and queen can make their wealth meaningless. He has that capability.
You have nothing to lose but your chains.
Rise up! Join me! And together, we will be remembered!
Okay, so... Yeah, socialist revolutionary. Vladimir Lenin Stiltskin.
Today I'll brew, tomorrow I'll break. Soon we'll destroy the Queen's namesake.
You know what I see brewing? It's revolution. Cut to, like, Rumpelstiltskin's face and, like, black and white on a t-shirt.
Yes, I agree entirely. That's the revolution has come, and the golden boy is at its head.
Well, I think that's better.
Yeah, right. This king doesn't deserve to be king, right? The queen got looped up in this, and she might be an innocent party here. And that I don't think the prince deserves any of this, but overthrowing that king is a good thing.
Yes. I do think one thing that socialist revolutionary Rumpelstiltskin did not learn is how to treat women as people.
No. Maybe, yeah, if he had a full story, I could see that being part of it.
Socialism and feminism can be tied pretty closely together, I think. I think maybe he meets another dwarf or whatever who's a little more onto that side of things, and they click.
Yeah, maybe, someone that he's, a little, that connects with instead. Maybe, he can form a healthier relationship with, instead of it being so one-sided.
And he forgets her birthday. And there's a whole sitcom episode about it.
Okay, let me guess. Is it January?
Tell you what. 3 days, bucko.
Man.
Da-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Iris in.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What do you for the final rating place here? What do you rate Rumpelstiltskin?
I would rate him. I'm trying to think of like a socialist joke. Exactly the same rating I have given all the others.
That's fair. I think he's like a 4 out of 5 for me. I think he's got a lot of tragic potential, and I want to tell a story one day now.
Yeah, no. I do think he's a dwarf, though, if we have to point somewhere in the monster manual. If you want to incorporate Rumpelstiltskin into your D&D game, check out, use our coupon code on Squarespace.
Yeah, the gold connection there is pretty solid.
Remember when we wanted to be a D&D podcast, and then we were like, wait, that's 80% of podcasts.
Yeah.
Let's also make our logo an icehedron with a 20 on it.
So, join us next time when we go even deeper into the woods and find out who's still lurking there.
Are we out of the woods? Are we out of the woods yet?
No, we are not.
Beans. Ask me what our next episode is.
Hey, what's our next episode?
Tell you what. In 9 months, I'll give you 9 total chances.
Oh, no.
Over the course of 3 days.
Beans.
And I'm gonna sing a song about it.
Alright, see you, everyone.